Can you be a Pan-African and a Christian? Oh, trust me, this is one of the most debated topics in both faith and cultural spaces today, and we're diving right into it. Stick around, because what we uncover might just change how you see your identity and your spirituality. At its core, Pan-Africanism is about unity and liberation for people of African descent worldwide. It's a call to reclaim identity, heritage, and freedom from colonial and oppressive systems. On the other hand, Christianity, a religion with over 2,000 years of history, has been both a source of hope and a tool of colonization in African history. So, how do the two coexist? Now, here's the thing. Some people argue that Christianity is fundamentally a colonial import, something that was forced on Africans during slavery and colonization. They'll say, how can you embrace Pan-Africanism while following a religion used to oppress our ancestors? And that's a fair question. But is it the whole story? Let's go back in time for a minute. Did you know that Christianity isn't originally European? In fact, it reached Africa long before it even spread to Europe. Ethiopia, for instance, embraced Christianity in the 4th century, long before colonization. Some of the oldest Christian communities in the world, like the Coptic Church in Egypt and the Ethiopian Orthodox Church, are African. And let's not forget that African theologians like Augustine of Hippo helped shape early Christian thought. So, is Christianity inherently anti-African? Absolutely not. But, and this is important, the way Christianity was introduced during colonization, stripped of its cultural roots and used to control rather than liberate, created tension. This is why many Pan-Africans today embrace traditional African spirituality or reject Christianity outright. They feel it's more in line with reclaiming their heritage. You might be wondering, what does it mean to reclaim African heritage? For many, it's about reconnecting with pre-colonial spiritual systems, practices that honored ancestors, respected nature, and emphasized communal living. These systems were dismissed and demonized during colonization, but they were central to African culture and identity. This tension makes some Pan-Africans question whether Christianity can ever align with their movement. So, let me ask you this. 1. Do you think Christianity can truly align with the goals of Pan-Africanism? 2. Can a faith that was weaponized during colonial times still be a force for unity and liberation for Africans today? Drop your thoughts in the comments, I'd love to hear how you see it. But here's an interesting perspective. There are Pan-African Christians who argue that Christianity, when understood correctly, can empower African liberation. They point to African theologians like John Beatty, who emphasize that Christianity and African culture aren't enemies, they can coexist. Or figures like Desmond Tutu, who fought apartheid in South Africa with deep Christian convictions. And let's not forget Black liberation theology, a movement that interprets Christian teachings as a call to fight for the oppressed and dismantle systems of inequality. Even leaders like Kwame Nkrumah, a Pan-Africanist who played a key role in Ghana's independence, didn't see a contradiction. He viewed Christianity as a tool for moral and social progress when applied correctly. For these thinkers, Christianity's message of love, justice, and liberation aligns perfectly with the goals of Pan-Africanism. And let's talk about the Bible itself for a moment. When you strip away the colonial interpretations, what do you find? A book filled with stories of resistance against oppression. Think Moses leading the Israelites out of slavery. Or Jesus, who constantly stood up for the marginalized and challenged unjust systems. Pan-African Christians argue that these are the same values at the heart of their movement: freedom, justice, and unity. But here's the challenge: the work of decolonizing Christianity is no small task. It means separating the faith from the harmful ideologies that came with colonization. It means reclaiming African expressions of Christianity, embracing our music, languages, and traditions in worship instead of adopting European styles. This is something that many African churches today are starting to do, but there's still a long way to go. So, where does that leave us? Can you hold on to Christianity while rejecting its colonial baggage? Can you be a Pan-African who fights for African liberation while embracing a faith that's been part of African history for centuries? For some, the answer is a resounding yes. For others, it's a personal journey that requires constant questioning. At the end of the day, being a Pan-African and a Christian comes down to how you define both identities. If Pan-Africanism is about reclaiming what's ours and Christianity is part of Africa's spiritual history, can the two walk hand in hand? Or are they forever at odds? The choice is personal, but the conversation is powerful and necessary. So, what do you think? Is there room for Christianity in the Pan-African movement? Or should Pan-Africanism focus on reclaiming traditional African spirituality alone? Let's talk about it in the comments. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button for African History Made Easy. We simplify your African history, one story at a time. And hey, don't stop learning here. Watch the next video on the left to explore more about your African history. See you there.